I took my niece to the hospital behind my sister-in-law's back. The doctor's face went cold, and everything changed in seconds. Hi, I'm Avery. Growing up with a brother like Max meant always having someone to look up to. He was the golden child, smart, successful, and impossibly generous. So when he married Cassandra 9 years ago, I expected someone equally wonderful. But sometimes first impressions can be devastatingly wrong. Avery, thanks for coming over on such short notice, Max said, pulling me into a quick hug as I stepped into his beautiful colonial-style home in Meadowbrook. The investor call can't be rescheduled, and Cassandra has her pottery class. No problem at all. Where's my favorite niece? I asked, setting my bag down on the granite kitchen counter. Ruby's upstairs in her room. She hasn't been feeling great today, but Cassandra says it's just a bug going around Pinewood Elementary. I frowned slightly. Again? Didn't she just recover from something last month? Max shrugged, checking his Rolex. Kids, right? Always catching something. There's chicken noodle soup in the fridge if she gets hungry. Cassandra says no snacks before dinner, though. Got it. Go nail your pitch. I've got this. After Max left in his Tesla, I headed upstairs to check on Ruby. At 8 years old, she was usually a whirlwind of energy. But lately, something seemed deeply wrong. I knocked gently on her door. Aunt Avery, came a weak voice. I stepped inside to find Ruby curled up in bed, her face ghostly pale, and her normally sparkling hazel eyes dull and sunken. The room smelled stale, medicinal. Hey, sweetheart. Your dad said you're not feeling too good. My stomach hurts again, she whispered, clutching her favorite stuffed unicorn. And I'm so tired. I sat beside her, brushing her honey blonde hair back to feel her forehead. She was warm, not alarmingly so, but enough to notice. Her skin felt clammy. Have you told your mom about your stomach hurting? Ruby nodded, her eyes dropping to the bedspread. She says I'm just being overdramatic, that I need to toughen up and stop complaining. A chill ran down my spine. As a registered nurse at Riverside Medical Center, I'd learned to trust my instincts about sick children. Something about this felt very wrong. Does your stomach hurt a lot, Ruby? Like more than just sometimes? Almost every day after lunch, she said softly. And sometimes I get really dizzy at school. Mrs. Henderson had to take me to the nurse twice last week. I tried to keep my expression neutral, professional. What do you usually have for lunch? Mom makes me special wraps. She says they're super healthy and will help me grow stronger. Ruby's voice got even quieter. She uses special ingredients that she says other moms don't know about. And when did all this start? After my birthday party, remember? When I got sick from too much ice cream cake. I remembered, 5 months ago. But no child stays sick from birthday cake for 5 months straight. Ruby, would you show me exactly where it hurts the most? She pointed to the lower right side of her abdomen, just above her hip, not where a typical stomach ache manifests. My nursing training kicked into high gear. Does it hurt when I press here? I asked, gently touching the spot. She winced sharply. Ow! Yes, a lot. How about when I press here? I moved my hand to another area. Not as much. And do you feel sick after eating anything else? Or just the wraps? Ruby thought for a moment, her small face scrunched in concentration. I feel worst after Mommy's special wraps, and sometimes her special smoothies too. But don't tell her I said that. She gets really mad when I don't finish my food. My heart rate picked up. What happens when she gets mad? Ruby's eyes filled with tears that spilled down her pale cheeks. She says I'm ungrateful, that I don't appreciate how hard she works to keep me healthy. Sometimes she makes me sit at the table until I finish everything, even if it takes hours. Once I sat there until bedtime. I squeezed her small hand gently. You're not in any trouble, Ruby, I promise. Does your dad know about this? Daddy works a lot, And Mommy says he doesn't understand nutrition like she does, so we don't need to bother him with silly stuff. She paused. Aunt Avery, am I dying? The question hit me like a freight train. No, sweetie, absolutely not. But I do want to help you feel better. Can I look in your backpack? I want to check something. She nodded, and I retrieved her purple backpack from beside her desk. Inside, I found her insulated lunch bag and opened it carefully. The wrap inside looked normal enough: whole wheat tortilla, what appeared to be turkey and lettuce. But there was an odd, bitter smell that shouldn't be there. Something chemical. I wrapped it carefully in tissues and tucked it into my purse. Aunt Avery, am I in trouble? Ruby asked, her voice tiny and afraid. Absolutely not, sweetheart. I just want to make sure you feel better. I sat beside her again, my mind racing through possibilities I didn't want to consider. Has your mom taken you to see Dr. Williams about this? No, she says I just want attention and that doctors cost too much money. But Max and Cassandra had platinum-level health insurance through his tech company. Cost was definitely not the issue. I made a decision that would change everything. Tell you what, I said, forcing brightness into my voice. Let's watch a movie downstairs. I'll make some plain crackers and ginger ale for your tummy. While Ruby settled in front of the TV with Frozen, I stepped into the hallway and called my friend Naomi, who worked as a lab technician at Riverside Medical. Hey Naomi, I need a major favor. No questions asked. Can you test a food sample for me? Off the books. Avery, that's not exactly. It's about Ruby, Max's daughter. I'm worried Cassandra might be, I don't know. Something's really not right. A pause, then, bring it in. I'll stay late tonight. Thanks, Naomi. I really, really hope I'm wrong about this. What exactly are you suspecting? I lowered my voice, moving further from the living room where I could hear the movie playing. Possibly some form of intentional poisoning. Ruby's been chronically ill for months, but only at home, mainly after eating food Cassandra prepares specially for her. Jesus, Avery, that's a serious accusation. I know. That's why I need to be absolutely sure before I say anything to Max. After dropping off the wrap at the hospital where Naomi worked, I returned to find Ruby had fallen asleep on the couch. Her small body curled into a protective ball. My phone buzzed. It was Cassandra. Is Ruby behaving? She asked without any greeting. Her voice had that sharp edge it always carried. She's asleep. She's really not feeling well, Cassandra. I think she should see a doctor soon. Cassandra's voice turned to ice. Don't start with that again. She's perfectly fine. She just likes the attention you give her when she acts sick. She has significant abdominal pain and chronic fatigue. That's not acting. I'm her mother, Avery, not you. Never you. Stay in your lane. Cassandra, I'm just concerned about... Concerned? Please. You've always been jealous that Max chose me, that we have this beautiful family and you don't. Don't use my daughter as a substitute for the children you can't have yourself. That struck deep. My struggles with infertility weren't something I discussed openly, but Cassandra had always weaponized them whenever she felt challenged. This isn't about me, I said as firmly as I could manage. It's about Ruby's health and well-being. Don't test me, Avery. I decide what's best for my daughter, not you. Are we clear? The call ended abruptly. I looked at Ruby's sleeping form, at how fragile she appeared, and made another decision that would fracture our family forever. The next day, while Max was at his tech firm and Cassandra was at her Pilates class, which I'd long suspected was actually meeting her personal trainer for more than exercise, I picked Ruby up from Pinewood Elementary. Aunt Avery, what are you doing here? Ruby asked, confused but clearly happy to see me. Where's Mom? We're going on a little adventure, sweetheart. Your mom knows all about it. The lie felt justified under the circumstances. Where are we going? To see a friend of mine who's a doctor, just to check on that tummy of yours. Ruby's face fell. But Mommy says doctors give shots and they really, really hurt. Sometimes doctors need to use needles, but only to help you feel better. And Dr. Foster is super gentle, I promise you. Ruby considered this carefully. Will you hold my hand if I need a shot? The whole time, I promised, meaning it with every fiber of my being. Dr. Brandon Foster was an old college friend who now specialized in pediatrics at Riverside Medical. He'd agreed to see Ruby as a personal favor to me, squeezing her into his packed schedule. "So, Ruby," he said warmly, crouching to her eye level, "your aunt tells me your tummy's been bothering you quite a bit. Can you tell me more about that?" As Ruby described her symptoms in her soft, uncertain voice, Dr. Foster's expression grew increasingly troubled. He performed a gentle but thorough examination, then stepped outside the room with me. "Avery, how long has this been going on?" "5 months, apparently. Her mother hasn't brought her in for any of it." His jaw tightened. "I want to run some tests. Comprehensive blood work, specifically." "Do you have a suspicion?" I asked, though I already feared the answer. "Several. None of them good. Her symptoms are consistent with chronic poisoning, among other serious possibilities." While we waited for the lab results, my phone exploded with increasingly frantic texts from Cassandra. "Where is Ruby? Answer me right now. I swear to God, Avery, I'm calling the police. This is kidnapping." I replied simply, "She's safe. We're getting her the medical attention she clearly needs." The response came instantly. "You have no right. I'm her mother." "Being a mother isn't just biology," I typed back, my hands shaking. "It's protecting your child, not hurting them. You're dead to me. Max will never forgive you for this. Never." Dr. Foster returned 20 minutes later with a manila folder, his face ashen and drawn. "Avery, can I speak with you privately?" In his office, surrounded by cheerful pediatric posters that felt obscene given the circumstances, he laid it out plainly. "Ruby is showing unmistakable signs of arsenic poisoning, low-level chronic exposure over an extended period. It's not immediately life-threatening at current levels, but continued exposure could cause permanent organ damage or death." The room tilted. My heart stopped, then hammered. "Arsenic, you're certain?" "Yes, beyond any doubt." He paused. "And there's something else. I received a call from the lab. A colleague of yours, Naomi Rodriguez. She found traces of the same substance in a food sample you provided earlier. The wrap. Cassandra's special wraps. I'm legally obligated to report this," he continued gravely. "Child Protective Services will be involved immediately, and the police." I nodded, feeling numb and electrified simultaneously. "Her father, my brother, he has no idea." "Call him now," Dr. Foster said firmly. "He needs to get here immediately." Max arrived at Riverside Medical in record time, his BMW screeching into the emergency parking lot. His face was drained of all color when he burst through the doors. "What's going on? Where's Ruby?" "Cassandra's threatening to file kidnapping charges against you. She's absolutely hysterical." "Max, sit down," I said, leading him to the private consultation room Dr. Foster had prepared. "There's something you need to know, something terrible." As Dr. Foster methodically explained the situation, the arsenic levels, the contaminated food, the systematic nature of the poisoning, Max's expression transformed from confusion to disbelief to pure rage. "That's impossible," he whispered, his voice cracking. "Cassandra wouldn't. She couldn't. She loves Ruby more than anything." "The evidence is absolutely clear, Mr. Holloway," Dr. Foster said gently but firmly. "Your daughter has been systematically poisoned over a period of several months. The concentration levels and patterns suggest intentional, deliberate exposure, not environmental contamination." How could I have missed this? Max's voice broke completely. All those times Ruby was sick, all those doctor's appointments Cassandra said weren't necessary. I just believed her. I trusted her completely. Because she's your wife, I said softly, reaching for his hand. Because you loved her. Because you never imagined someone could do this to their own child. Where is she? Max demanded suddenly, standing up. Where's Cassandra right now? As if summoned by the mention of her name, Cassandra burst through the hospital doors at that exact moment, followed closely by a hospital security guard trying to keep pace. There she is! Cassandra screamed, her perfectly manicured finger pointing directly at me. That's the woman who kidnapped my daughter. I want her arrested immediately. Ma'am, please lower your voice, the guard said firmly. This is a hospital. Max stood slowly, and when he spoke, his voice was eerily calm in a way I'd never heard before. Cassandra, what have you done to our daughter? Cassandra's eyes darted between us, her face a mask of confusion that looked almost genuine. What are you talking about? She kidnapped Ruby. I want her arrested right now. Mrs. Holloway, Dr. Foster interjected professionally. I'm Dr. Brandon Foster. I've been treating your daughter for acute arsenic poisoning. For just a split second, maybe half a heartbeat, Cassandra's carefully constructed mask slipped. Pure fear flashed across her face before she composed herself with impressive speed. That's completely ridiculous. You're all insane. Where's Ruby? I'm taking her home right now. No, you're not. A new voice cut through the tension. Detective Lawrence Harris had arrived, summoned by Dr. Foster's mandatory report to Child Protective Services. Mrs. Holloway, we need to ask you some very serious questions about your daughter's condition. I don't have to answer anything without my lawyer, Cassandra spat, her composure cracking. Actually, ma'am, you do, Detective Harris countered calmly. We have a warrant to search your home and seize any food items you've been preparing for your daughter. We're executing it as we speak. Cassandra's face went completely white, then flushed red. This is absolutely absurd. Avery has always been jealous of me, of our family. She's making all of this up because she's a bitter, barren woman who can't have children of her own. The cruelty of it took my breath away, but I refused to look away from her. The blood tests don't lie, Dr. Foster said firmly. Neither does the independent lab analysis of Ruby's lunch wrap. You went through her things? Cassandra turned to me, her face contorted with rage. You had no right at all. I had every right, I shot back, finding my voice. Someone had to protect her, since her own mother was slowly poisoning her. Max stepped forward, and I saw tears streaming down his face. Why, Cassandra? She's our daughter, our baby girl. Why would you do this to her? You don't understand, Cassandra hissed, her carefully cultivated image finally shattering. You never understood anything. She took everything from me. My body, my freedom, my entire life. You were always Ruby this, Ruby that. What about me, Max? What about what I needed? What about my suffering? The room fell into shocked silence. Cassandra's admission hung in the air like poison itself. Mrs. Holloway, Detective Harris said quietly, producing handcuffs. You're under arrest for the attempted murder of Ruby Holloway and felony child abuse. This isn't over, Cassandra snarled at me as the handcuffs clicked around her wrists. You think you've won? You've completely ruined my life, so I'll ruin yours. Max will see through you eventually. He'll see what you really are. Save it for your lawyer, Detective Harris said, leading her toward the exit. As Cassandra was led away, still screaming accusations at me, Max collapsed into a chair like a puppet with cut strings. How did I not see it? He whispered. All those times Ruby was sick, all those months. Cassandra always had such reasonable explanations. I believed every single word. It's not your fault, I said, sitting beside him and taking his hand. Munchausen syndrome by proxy is incredibly difficult to detect, especially when it's someone you trust completely, someone you love. What happens now? He asked, looking lost. Ruby needs chelation therapy to flush the arsenic from her system, and you both need counseling, I said gently. But she'll recover, Max. Children are remarkably resilient when they're finally safe. The trial 3 months later was brief but brutally intense. The evidence against Cassandra was overwhelming and damning. Not just the arsenic in Ruby's system and lunch wrap, but her browser history revealed dozens of incriminating searches, untraceable poisons, symptoms of arsenic poisoning, how to make someone sick without getting caught, Munchausen by proxy, how to avoid detection. The prosecutor, District Attorney Victoria Reeves, was absolutely merciless in her approach. Mrs. Holloway, can you explain why you searched for these specific terms? DA Reeves asked, displaying the search history on a large screen for the jury. Research, Cassandra replied with icy composure, her lawyer having clearly coached her. I'm a true crime enthusiast. I listen to podcasts. And the commercial-grade arsenic trioxide found in your kitchen cabinet, hidden behind the baking supplies, also for your podcast hobby? I use it for gardening, to kill weeds in our rose beds. Yet you kept it directly next to the almond butter, which laboratory analysis found in your daughter's special wraps. Interesting placement for a toxic substance, don't you think? Cassandra had no answer, just stared straight ahead. When it was Max's turn to testify, he looked directly at his wife with an expression of profound betrayal and heartbreak. I loved you, he said simply, his voice steady despite the tears. I trusted you completely with our daughter's life, with everything, and you betrayed that trust in the most horrific way imaginable. You never loved me! Cassandra screamed suddenly, losing control despite her lawyer's restraining hand. You only cared about Ruby. It was always, always about Ruby. What about me? What about what I needed? The judge ordered her removed from the courtroom. The jury looked horrified. The psychiatric evaluation revealed that Cassandra suffered from severe narcissistic personality disorder combined with Munchausen syndrome by proxy. The attention and sympathy she received from having a chronically ill child had fed something fundamentally broken inside her psyche. She was sentenced to 18 years in prison for attempted murder and multiple counts of felony child abuse. 7 months later, Ruby was not just recovered but absolutely thriving. Max had filed for divorce and won full custody with a permanent restraining order. Cassandra would never be allowed contact with Ruby again. Aunt Avery, watch this! Ruby called out, performing a perfect cartwheel in Max's backyard during our Sunday barbecue. Her color had returned, her energy was boundless, her smile genuine. Amazing, kiddo, I cheered, marveling at her complete transformation. The sickly, lethargic child was gone, replaced by a vibrant, healthy girl who actually looked her age. Max handed me a sweet tea, his expression serious despite the cheerful atmosphere. I got a letter from Cassandra's attorney yesterday. She wants to apologize to Ruby, says she's gotten intensive help in prison, that she's realized what she did was wrong and wants to make amends. What did you tell them? Absolutely not. Some things can't be forgiven, Avery. She tried to kill our daughter, slowly, painfully, over months and months, while I was completely blind to it all. He took a deep breath. The prison psychiatrist says she has severe narcissistic personality disorder, along with Munchausen by proxy. The attention she got from having a chronically ill child fed something deeply broken inside her. Have you told Ruby anything about her mother? Age-appropriate truth. That her mother is sick in a way doctors can't fix, and that she hurt Ruby because of that sickness. That it wasn't Ruby's fault, that nothing she did caused it. How's she handling it? Better than I ever expected. Her therapist says children are remarkably adaptable when they're given consistent love and stability. What we're providing now is healing her emotional wounds along with the physical ones. We watched as Ruby played tag with her cousin, who had come with my parents for the day. Our entire family had rallied around Max and Ruby, filling the void Cassandra had left with genuine love instead of poison. You saved her life, you know, Max said quietly. If you hadn't trusted your instincts, if you hadn't gone behind Cassandra's back and risked everything. That's what family does, I replied simply. We protect each other, no matter the cost. I just keep thinking about all the signs I missed, Max confessed, pain in his voice. The way Cassandra would insist on preparing Ruby's food herself, how she'd get genuinely angry if anyone else tried to feed her, how she always seemed almost excited when Ruby got sick, like she was enjoying the attention and drama. That's the nature of Munchausen by proxy, I explained. The perpetrator desperately craves the attention and sympathy that comes with having a sick child. They become the heroic, devoted, self-sacrificing parent in everyone's eyes. Except yours, you saw through it. I had the advantage of medical training and emotional distance. When you're living it every single day, the pattern is much harder to recognize. Last week, I received a letter from Cassandra, smuggled out through another inmate. It was filled with vitriol and threats, promises that she'd get out someday, that she'd make me pay for stealing her family, for destroying her life. I burned it without showing Max. Some toxins are best neutralized with fire. But there was one paragraph I couldn't forget that haunted me. You think you're the hero of this story, Avery, but you're not. You were always jealous of what I had. You wanted my life, my husband, my daughter. You destroyed me because you couldn't create anything of your own. Barren women always destroy what fertile women build. I'll get out eventually, and when I do, you'll pay for everything you've taken from me. I knew it was the narcissism talking, the delusion. But something about it chilled me to the bone. As the sun set on another healing day, I watched Ruby laugh. Really, truly laugh. For the first time in ages. She was teaching Max how to do a cartwheel, both of them tumbling onto the grass in a heap of giggles. Sometimes the most toxic people wear the most convincing masks. Sometimes they're the ones everyone else thinks are perfect. And sometimes saving someone means being willing to be the villain in someone else's twisted story. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Ruby ran over to me, throwing her arms around my waist. Aunt Avery, can we have a sleepover next weekend? Dad says it's okay if you are. Absolutely, sweetheart. She beamed up at me, healthy and whole and safe. That was all that mattered. So here's my question for you, the one that keeps me up at night. If you suspected someone was hurting a child in your family, would you risk everything, relationships, reputation, maybe even legal trouble, to protect that child? Or would you mind your own business and hope someone else would step up? Because I promise you this, somewhere right now, there's another Ruby, another child being slowly poisoned by the person who's supposed to protect them most. And the question is, will you be brave enough to see it?